How are we doing, everybody? Welcome back to the Sean Atwood channel. I'm Ron Swanson. We're here to talk a little bit today. It's going to be a slightly shorter show. I've got an extra show that I want to do later on. Testing. Later on, after a royal mess, just for an hour, and we will be getting. A lot of you will be waiting on the next Julia episode. It is coming too. I'm just waiting on a phone call. So, Starmer has proved once again, Starmer, I should say, that his intentions for this country, in my humble opinion, and the efforts he's making to eradicate our rights here is treasonous. It's insane. And the latest thing is they are obviously, we've spoken about the proposal to remove free speech from certain public areas. We have seen the rolling out of the sort of online passports for certain websites. They're now discussing the same age restrictions for VPN companies and things like this. And it's kind of a bit spicy. Now they want to take somebody in the government has spent the last 6 months trying to define what Islamophobia is, right? No other religions, just this one. And it's just a scary concept. Now, just bear with me. Oh, here we go. Now, sorry, I had the wrong window open. 1 second. All right. So, I think one of the stories that a lot of you have been following along with is the GG gangs. Okay, and the GG gang cover-up sparks fury as Keir Starmer warned over betrayal of victims. This is from 9 hours ago. Keir Starmer is under renewed pressure to call public inquiry into the GG gangs scandal after victims of the Rotherham Ring accused police of being complicit. South Yorkshire Police announced an investigation into its own officers under the direction of police watchdog after 5 women said they were essayed by members of the force. There have since been questions raised over the efficiency of the Major Crimes Unit proposed investigation, as it may be less likely to hold officers to account than an independent inquiry. Emma Barrow, senior solicitor in the abuse team at Bolton Kemp, called a further betrayal of trust and demanded full and independent public inquiry into what she called a cycle of concealment. She told the Express that we have seen from recent revelations from survivors of abuse of Rotherham GG gangs is institutional failure has been persistent, and survivors have been completely let down by those who were meant to protect them. And this just keeps going on and on today. This cycle of complicity hasn't ended. It goes on and it goes on and it goes on. But I hope everyone is having a good day today. I hope everyone is feeling good. And it's Thursday. We've got a royal mess. Myself and Paul and the usual gang. We'll be back this evening. And it's exciting times. Give me some likes. Give me some shares if you can, people, because we're going to be here for about an hour today. And then we're back with a royal mess. And then I'm back after a royal mess. And then I don't know what Sean's doing today. I don't know if he's got a call-in show or whatever, but stay tuned for that. Now, you would think, like, what is getting really scary, right, is thankfully now we're seeing fathers, husbands, uncles, brothers taking it into their own hands to politely and respectfully patrol their own areas. Because I'm waiting on a phone call, Nicola. That's all, mate. I'm just waiting on a phone call. So yeah, as soon as I get that phone call, I can do the show. Basically, mate. So I do apologize, Nicola. It is coming. But yeah, I do apologize. It's a pain for us both, but I'm sure it'll either be I'll get that phone call today or tomorrow. So I'll keep you posted. Is what it is, but it's coming. Don't worry, it's a coming. It's a coming. Now, when we look at a government, anyone can understand that the people of that country should come first. But before even that, the children of this country should come first. Their safety, they are the future. And this government seems to favor the other side. Favor the other side of the battle. And it's sad because society's been set up in such a way that distractions are everywhere. We're too dialed in on ourselves. The local community and that feeling of knowing who your neighbors were that I had growing up, it seems to be something that is just evaporating. And they use all kinds of words to stop people having a voice, especially when it comes to individuals coming across on boats. And individuals of a certain demographic who are being accused all across the country of doing horrific and systematically orchestrated attacks on children. Let's read on. One victim of the Rotherham GGs alleged that a serving police officer arred her in a marked car when she was 12, threatening to give her back to the gang if she resisted. Like, just try and let that process through your head. A 12-year-old girl who has been liberated from a cycle of abuse to be put in the back seat of a police officer's car and to go more abuse by the hands of the officers who are meant to be her savior under the threat of returning her. It's a scary one. She told the BBC, in a world where you are being having horrible things done to you so much, being arred once was a lot easier than multiple times. And I think he knew that. The outlet saw the woman's written accounts as well as testimonies from the GG victims who said corrupt police officers worked alongside them or failed to take child SA seriously. 3 of the witness accounts collected by a child abuse legal firm, Switolskis Solicitors, reportedly described being beaten up by officers when they were children, one of which allegedly happened in a police cell. They couldn't give an actual crap. They genuinely couldn't give a crap. Now, Ron started, right? And the reason this Ron's going somewhere with this, right? But Ron started out on YouTube years ago doing survival camping videos and bushcraft and prepping and all of this, right? And today was the first day where I started looking out all my old stuff. Like, let's not talk on camera what that stuff is, but it's been a while since I felt like there was an underlying tremble that could result in us needing to be prepared for something. I think we know what that is, okay? But civil unrest especially when it's bubbling under the surface the way that it is, can only lead to the government responding and militarized streets and curfews and things like this. This could all be part of our future because people are not sitting around and taking this anymore. And now they're weaponizing terminology and redefining what criticizing a faith legally is. And it's a scary time. Oh, yeah, abundantly. The whole mindset of the government is coming to save you, that is long gone. Long gone. It's sad. This was a sad day for me realizing all of this. Do you know what is funny, right? See, during lockdown, I had all the dads and the families and the women on my street dialed in for what the plan was, because literally, if this wallet, right, is a street with a corner, where are we? Here, right? There was a food bank on this corner, and my house and my street was this whole street here. And we knew that if it kicked off, that was the one place where we were going to secure, you know. And Nick, we're just sort of having a wee hour-long stream today talking about the Starmer and the GG gangs. I'll quickly put up on the screen what that is, so if anyone doesn't know my GG terminology. The continued betrayal of this man to his nation, the treasonous acts that, I'm sorry, but if we the people go against our government or fight against our government, treason, right? Well, if a government starts systematically dismantling what built this country, it's customs, it's everything, and your freedom of speech. The next thing, I'm telling you now, the scary thing that is going to be coming is defining what Islamophobia is, okay? Then we've already seen in America that they're rolling out the same age restriction, passport, facial identification stuff on YouTube, okay? So trust me, that's coming for social media too. Now, again, in a world where we can trust our governments, right? All of these things are really, really, really good ideas, right? All of it, great idea. It's just the evil minions that run this whole operation cannot be trusted to put their own shoes on, let alone make decisions for an entire country. Yeah, the weekly rant, you know, it's already here. We've got Sharia law courts in England. It's why? Listen, I'm all for religions having their stuff, okay? But everybody needs to get it, right? So if we're going to be like defining Islamophobia, like whatever the Christian and Jewish and Hindu and Buddhist and Scientology version of that, we should get that too, right? Because that would be a country taking a stance against a broad spectrum of religious oppression, right? So let's just dial this back, because maybe I've missed something, right? We've got boats coming over from France that are prominently, allegedly, Islamic and Muslim men, okay? We have the king talking about how we need to be more compassionate and understanding of Islam. Okay? We have accusations of a two-tiered police system that concerns the police and then people from the Muslim faith and Islam, then we have them try to define a religion or an oppressive term of Islamophobia for Islam. We have children being told that Easter is not inclusive and can no longer happen at their schools because of Islam. There seems to be a lot of protests about men who seem to be standing outside of schools who seem to be from Islam. So I'm not saying, right? I'm not saying that we're being invaded. I'm not saying that there is a two-tiered system here that is favoring the invaders over, what shall I call myself? The Scotsman. No bother, Ken. Like, what are we that? Listen, I'm not being funny anymore. I don't think I can talk politely about this anymore. I think we're going to have to talk once a week about what if. What if? What if you woke up tomorrow and your free speech was gone? What if you woke up to find that you could only buy alcohol 1 day a week? What if when your kids go to school, what if, right? What if one day we wake up in a Britain where it's normal to witness 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds having a wedding? Because it might feel like it's already, but it's definitely not already. It might be a little bit already. But I don't get why all of the established local communities aren't seeing this. And I mean local Muslim communities, people who've been here for 1, 2, 3, 4 generations. They must see what is happening here. You know, I've got friends who are Muslim. I've got neighbors who are Muslim. And they sound pretty British to me. I'm not going to lie. They're incredibly British people, Scottish people. One of them sounds way more Scottish than I do. So it's got nothing to do with people who have been living their lives here for decades. It's got everything to do with extremism. It's got everything to do with our country liking to get involved with fights overseas where we bomb and shell the living crap out of people for decades. Before that was the empire. We've not got the best track record, okay? And I'll be honest with you, does it not feel like we're kind of overdue? Like, does it not? Because I'll be honest with you, the only time I can remember anything genuinely scary happening in the UK was the IRA. But the IRA would phone you and tell you what they were going to do. So the only time there was a major civilian casualty in the UK from the IRA was when the British government did not shut down a shopping centre that they'd been given clear warning that was going to go boom boom, and they let a bunch of people go boom boom. And how do you then decide who the enemy is in that situation? That was the only time. And now, you know, it was funny. The other day I started talking about all they need to do now is send in the weapons because their soldiers and the army is already here, right? And then I was thinking to myself, like, do you ever remember that movie Red Dawn? Planes all come in, the cargoes are falling, and I was like, oh well, maybe they could use drones actually. Meet here, the drone comes in, the weapons get, and then it's not about that. It's not about a full scale invasion. It's about tiny little fires. Tiny little fires. Because pointy objects that you use in the kitchen, okay? Those things are terrifying, right? If you've got some guy in the street running towards you with one of them. Do you know how much of a reign of carnage somebody could go on before they're stopped? Okay. On a Saturday afternoon in whatever busy high street is your high street. How many people can you do that to before somebody stops you? If it's just one person. But what if it's organized and it's 1,000 people? And what if it's 50 or 60 different places? Like, this is the sort of attack I can see coming. Because that makes sense, right? Because you've come over to this country, you've been handed a phone, you've been handed money. This is only for those individuals who are here to cause harm. I might add, this is all just Ron's theory. But if I was an evil genius and this was a movie, right? And I have in fact, let's go even more theatrical with this. In fact, Ron needs to smoke with this. Let's imagine, right? We're doing Red Dawn, but it's the other side of the movie, right? So I'm a crazy Russian dude who's met with a crazy Israeli dude, and we've went, that island has it's their turn. It's time for an ass whipping, right? And they're like, right, okay, so but listen, it's a bit of a PR nightmare if we just start flying planes over there, right? Be a bit, because TikTok, do you know what I'm saying? Oh, look, they didn't fully paint off the Russian insignia on the back of the freaking ammo dumper Boeing 747. Okay, that's a bit tricky, right? You know someone's going to make a mistake. Okay, please like and share at this point. Come on. So you think to yourself, we've tried the narco terrorism, okay, where you flood a country with very, very cheap narcotics to drive the price of that narcotic down, say, say a bag of H from £20 to a fiver, and then you shill it to children. Okay, that is narco terrorism, right? So we've tried that. We've got the infrastructure down. Okay, we've watched the eradication of the family unit. Why don't we use the crazy British mindset of we will lend a hand to anyone to send over an army? Okay, all right, I'm with you. I'm with you, crazy Iranian dude. What, we send over the army? Yep, okay, but that's going to be expensive. Oh, wait a second. It's not going to cost us anything. What do you mean? Well, when they get there, they're going to give them money, they're going to give them housing, they're going to do all of this. Okay. But wouldn't it be even better if there was a system set up to start mapping who lives in what houses? So if you were to go door to door, you could know where your Muslim brothers, or I mean, I'm speculating here. You could choose where to start. And wouldn't it be great if there was a job that would go under the radar, right, to allow individuals to map out who lives in their area? I wonder if there is such a thing. And then imagine how valuable that information would be for a strategic attack. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. Maybe this is more of a Muslim, a movie plot than a Muslim plot, a movie plot than a real thing. But we've seen from the auditors that go out onto the streets, right? Talking to individuals who are here to cause harm. Some, and I got to be honest, it is going to be the few that ruin it for the many. Okay? Because if you're one of these naive individuals that think it's only Muslims that are coming over here to start trouble, that ain't the truth. That ain't the truth. Okay? There is just, sadly, a system that has been used for removing people from horrible situations has been hijacked by like, honestly, a secret overlord who lives in a cave shaped like a skull on the side of a mountain. Because if we were to imagine 10% of the individuals who have come here have a reason to not like our country, right? Maybe we blew up, their country decades ago. Who knows? And that 10% is able to be radicalized and will absorb extremist views and then act on those views. The amount of carnage that can happen, the amount of devastation that would happen, would be enough for our government to come sweeping in and save us. Sweep it and save us from this. And you could quote me on this. Totally unforeseeable and unprecedented act of terror. And then when you've got this promise of mass deportation, but it's going to come at a price. We're going to have to restrict your freedoms further for this to happen. But on a real note, are you prepared for if it kicks off? Are you capable of fortifying and defending your property, your family? Because I would like to remind you of a little something called fire. Okay? Windows are not your friends. Okay? And luckily for me, I live in a concrete box, like a literal concrete slab. You just gotta love how they built stuff in the 60s. A lot of concrete went into this place. I've got I've got a room under the floorboards. You wouldn't find me if needs be. But bugging in and bugging out are two totally different things. And are you prepared? Are you prepared? Do you know what you would do if you had to wake up your wife and kids at 3:00 in the morning because there's riotous madness going on outside? Do you know that your children won't go into a mass state of panic? Do you know what it feels like at 3:00 in the morning in a set of pajamas if you had to leave? If the answer is no, I'm really scared that we're living in a time where these are just things that are going to become fun things to do at the weekend with a wife and kids. Running drills. And I know it sounds silly to some of you, right? I know it sounds silly. But isn't it every single American that says, isn't it better to have a pew pew and not need one than to need one and not have one? Isn't it the Boy Scouts that say, be prepared? Because I'm telling you right now, I can guarantee most of us can unite our little communities around ourselves, get to know our neighbors, get outdoors a little bit, and get into a mindset that you're taking steps to prepare yourself for a horrific event that could take place. Because I guarantee you, wherever you are right now, most of us, will have 3 or 4 other like-minded people that live near them. Maybe it's married couples, maybe it's families, maybe whatever, that I guarantee you will be happy to sit around at a table and talk about what you would do as a community if something was to happen. Because I am telling you now, within the first 15 minutes of sitting down and having a conversation about what if, you have already taken steps into preparedness. It's getting that community unison factor reestablished. Because in a world where you know all your neighbors and you can work together is a better world than not knowing your neighbor. And that guy that lives next door, that nice family, you know, that nice guy, keeps his garden really nice, wife and kids, wouldn't hurt a fly, right? Wait until his children miss 9 meals. Yeah? Wait until his kids miss 9 meals. Okay? And we'll see how friendly that guy is. 9 meals away from anarchy, people. That's it. 9 meals. And I am done pretending now that this is this is the real world, yo. Like, this is not our freedom of speech is gone. There's an army being imported into our country. We had a freaking mass pokey event 2 days ago in the UK. Okay, we're seeing one faith come in and take control over a nation. Nah, mate. Nah, mate. Nah. Because nothing is going to end well. All right? It's going to end horribly across the board. Because if I'm right and this does kick off, the army are going to come in and do a madness. Okay? They're not coming with kitchen utensils. Okay? And who are left are going to be returned. And then we are going to be left with a society that has a massive proportion of it that is so thankful to our saviors. Like, we're moving into the V for Vendetta world, man. They want to stop certain types of jokes. They want to do away with banter. What does that mean? What does that mean, Keir Starmer? Hang on. Like, do you understand? Hang on. And I know it's a bit of a ranty live stream today, right? Hang on. Ron is looking for something. Oh, it doesn't get any better. Now, to even have a government, to even have a leader, right, that would turn around and propose any form of eradication of free speech needs to go. Gonzo. And I don't mean the Internet Safeties Act. I don't mean things that, you know, have a whisper of keeping kids safe. I'm talking about your free speech. I'm talking about being at a bar or in a restaurant or at your work and not having the ability to speak freely. Oh, I wonder what they're going to try and restrict you talking about. Because wouldn't it be really interesting, right? Wouldn't it be really interesting, right? If we see a terror movement that doesn't have a religion attached to it, but just so happens to include all of these people. We have Islamophobia brought in as an illegal mindset, okay? We have a non-religious terror group who people are accusing of being a religious-based terror group. Oh, well, that's illegal because it's Islamophobia. Jail, straight to jail, right to jail. Off your pop, mate. Gonzo. That's a scary one too, right? because they'll probably do that. That's probably what they're going to do. Because in that situation, the individuals that have come over here are now the victims of this simple-minded nation. Hurty, hurty words. I'm telling you. My ancestors came from Scotland and England. This crap breaks my heart. Stay safe. It breaks my heart, but thank you. I will stay safe. Have a John Cena.
And his name is John Cena.
Yes! We will. We will stay safe. But nothing is going to change if we just sit here and do nothing. Like, this isn't a funny haha. This isn't a, oh dear, it's a heat wave. It'll cool down soon. This ain't happening. This ain't the one. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope everything doesn't play out the way that I think it will. But sadly, I've got a pretty interesting track record for guessing crap in 2025. So all of us could do with learning some preparedness skill sets. I've got thousands of things I can teach everybody. And you want to start finding things that are enjoyable to learn. You know, ask yourself, what would you do if you had to secure your house and stay in your house in a situation where law has fallen apart? 72 hours, 40 hours. In fact, do you know what? Let's start off simple. What would happen if on Monday the power goes off and doesn't come back for 2 weeks? There we go. There's one that you can try and get your head around. You've no power for the whole nation. No power for 2 weeks. First 48 hours will be fun, right? Oh, this is novel. This is novel. Then what? Then what? Then all the people that have got generators become the haves and the have-nots know where they are. The crime, the criminals, and the individuals who want to take control of areas, it will slowly slip into a reality where the person who's willing to do the most outrageous acts of violence are the ones who are in charge. Now, there is a couple of really good documentaries, right, that I would love for you guys to watch. And the first one is this one. And it's called Blackout. And it's all about the power going off in the UK for 2 weeks. Okay? And it's done like a found footage movie. And there's another one, Blackout USA. That's another good one to watch. But this really will give you a sort of eye opener as to what you can expect in the most PG-13 way possible, right? This is an introductory level into dealing with the realities of societies that we've not had to face in our entire lifetime. I don't think any of us can comprehend what goes on in some of the countries around the world, whether that's because of economics, whether that's because of, you know, warlording, whether that's because of religion, whatever. We have got it cushy here. And there's a lot of people that would like to see that not be the case. So without fear-mongering anyone in your house or your family, ask yourselves, are you prepared? What would you do? What would you do? You know, if you live on a ground floor in a house and you've got walls that are effectively massive breaky pieces of glass, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I do not have the answers for you. But by God, is it much more fun to figure that out now than when you have someone trying to kick open your front door? And getting an actual sensory experience of what it is like to have to deal with that level of chaos can be a fun. It sounds ridiculous, but tell the neighbors, look, hey, listen, we're going to have a weekend where we see how likely it is for me. Like, how have any of you ever had to try and push a door closed with people behind it? Do any of you know how there's ways of doing things and things that you can do that sound silly, right? But are practical real world experiences in a controlled environment that it's better for you to get to grips with now than then. One of the best bits of advice anyone ever gave me when I was doing the bushcrafting and the wild camping was, when you get to a new location and it's nice and sunny, set your bedroll up and lie down as if you're in bed with your eyes closed and listen to all the noises of the forest. And if you find something that you hear then you think is really odd, go and investigate it. Because it's a lot better to get used to all the creepy noises of the forest when it's the middle of the day than it is to try and experience them at night. And it's true. I mean, I've never really been somebody that gets scared in the forest. Like, if any of you do go wild camping, why is it when you tell people that you're into wild camping, are people's first reactions to be like, are you not worried someone's going to come and unalive you? Like, am I does the world have like a reputation for campers, like maybe coming home from a camping trip? Because I have never heard of a unalived individual in a tent in the UK. I mean, I'm sure there probably has been, and I probably have, but not like, oh, old Jimmy's lad went down to the woods again, gonzo. Nah. I'm the most dangerous thing in the woods when I'm in the woods. Me. Okay. Or maybe a badger with TB. All right. Maybe the TB badgers tip the scale. But I'm the most dangerous thing in the freaking woods, man. Like 100%. And there is a lot of ways for you to survive in the wonderful areas that we have in the UK. And I spent a couple of years, 2-3 years, wild camping once to 3 nights a week, bushcrafting, making videos about it, and I learned a lot from the camping that I did. And listen, you can start out with your little tent and all of this stuff, but you'll soon realize if you're a single dude, right, and you're wanting to get into prepping, you don't have anyone else to worry about, you're just leaving yourself, you will quickly realize that carrying a bunch of crap ain't the one. Okay? Like British Army Bergens, I am not that guy. All right? So fun camping trip for Ron is everyone gets a roll of duct tape, everyone gets a roll of dental floss, everyone gets a roll of bin liners, and everyone gets a full sleep system. So whatever your sleep system is, you can take that, and then you can have a fire starting kit and a little metal pot or whatever, and off we go. But we're not leaving till 1 a.m, and we're only leaving when the winds are over 30 miles an hour and the rain's sideways, right? You learn nothing if all you're going to do is sit in a tent and go, oh, I'm prepping. No. Fair dues, though, for getting out and trying. But nah, man, there's nothing to learn from comfort. There's nothing to learn from not pushing yourself. Me and my old dog Thor, man. Thor, like the looks that we used to getting on the night bus at 1 a.m. to go up to the Pentland Hills and walk up the Pentlands in the pouring rain to build a shelter out of bin liners and duct tape and dental floss, right? It's good fun. And once you know what thermodynamics are, you will care more about thermodynamics than you will about a tent. A British Army bivvy bag, a big Agnes four-season sleep system, some old furs and things like that. That was my sleep system. And you know those space blankets, those thin foil blankets, man. As a blanket, terrible, right? I mean, they're not. If you've got no blanket, they're great. But see, putting them underneath your sleep system, right? So I would have one underneath whatever pile of whatever I'm sleeping on. And then I'd have another one underneath the big inside underneath the sleep system, but inside the bivy bag. And man, I mean, you can see hammocks for me they're just murder pods. Like like I like low res stealth camping where I'm in something and then I've got my tarp over me and that all blends in. And yeah, me suspended from a tree in a bag. The only thing that fascinates me about hammock camping is the ability to sleep and live on a slope. Okay. So you could have a camp that is a nightmare to get to because it's of an angle or whatever. That's kind of cool. But for me, it's all about you ain't gonna find me. You ain't gonna find me, man. Like, yeah, it's not. It's nah. And once I'd mastered keeping the heat in, that was me, man. Like that was it. I remember I took a couple of subscribers camping with me one time. One of them woke up at 4 a.m. saying that he had to leave to go to a travel lodge hotel because he was so cold. And this guy turned up with like 90 liters of gear. 90 liters of gear. What? I couldn't even justify putting up a shelter that night because there was no need for one. I just made a big fire, got in the bivy bag, wrapped the coyote fur around myself, and I mean, I can have the best night's sleep in the woods, right? I mean, once you grasp thermals, once you realize you're not going to heat up the planet, okay? The planet's going to cool your ass down if you lie down on it. Yeah, but then the bivy bag, I could sleep in about 16 inches of water, weekly rent, in this bivy bag. Wouldn't even know. Wouldn't even know. Somehow, without the use of magic and warlocks, we can make a fabric that is somehow waterproof but breathable. Hunky. Okay, tell me that Gore-Tex hasn't been made by some sort of freaking witch doctor. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But I love that stuff. And the government Gore-Tex that they make these bivy bags out of is even more suspicious. It's even more suspicious. Like how though? How am I lying in water? I'm sleeping and perspiring and my body moisture is escaping through this way. Doesn't make any sense. Blows my mind. It's like when you look at a CD and a vinyl, it's like, how though? At least a CD looks mystical. It's shiny. A freaking vinyl. Okay. So we're just to believe that in like the 1910s, some guy was like, see plastic, see sound. You watching? Record? No. That is some gypsy warlock madness. Right? Anyway, back to the point. So ask yourselves these questions because we have seen crazy stuff kick off in places where we're like, okay, well, crazy stuff happens there, right? You know, we've seen. I mean, look at what happened with Israel and Iran, and the Halo freaking defense system, all that stuff going off. I ain't got one of them. There's none of that. There's not going to be none of that. You know what there will be? There will be the howling screams of individuals who've been attacked and the slow progression from initial scream and worrying about whether or not they're instantly going to die. And as their attacker moves on, they're going to progress into that gargling, horrible, begging for help vibe. And that is what occurred 2 days ago outside a workplace in England. 4 people stabby-wabbied, And one woman was sitting having her lunch and heard the gargling pleas for help from one of the victims 4 days ago. How do you then sleep at night? How do you hear a gargling noise and not relive that? It's there's a reason, right, why the police, the military, all these people desensitize themselves to this. We're the public. We're not. I don't want to live in a world where everyone needs to be that level of desensitized. But we've all got to ask ourselves, are we prepared to deal with all of this? You know? Let's scale it back. Let's scale it back. You're in Walmart, you're shopping. I'll give you the luxury of being by yourself, okay? And a terror event takes place. Do you have anything in your arsenal, in your mind, or in your everyday carry that could give you an edge over a regular individual in a situation like that? If the answer is no, it's time to get prepared. It's time to sit at night and binge watch videos about people filling Altoids tins with crap and starting your mindset on that. It's time to look at what adding a small backpack with a few select items in it could do for your life in a situation if it was to occur, like what happened in that workplace. You can buy backpacks that are made of Kevlar. You can buy backpacks that take military grade, whatever they're called, the plates that go in the back. And I tell you something else. Do a search for small arms body armor, Temu and Wish, right? Because 9mm and 22s and like bird shot and things like this are very common UK small arms rounds, and being able to protect yourself from something if you're running away and there's things flying at your back. There are backpacks out there that will catch bullets a lot better than your body will. And it's scary. It's scary. There's a German company who makes completely slash-proof fabric, stab-proof and slash-proof fabric. I used to have 2 bits of they were like sleeves I would pull up my arms, and they were completely cut resistant. There was nothing you could do to cut this fabric. Obviously, if you were to chop somebody with a big chopper, you'd break their arm, but it wouldn't cut through it. Yeah, Kevlar is incredible. Kevlar is just incredible. Kevlar thread is incredible. It really, really is. Yeah, like years and years ago, man, this was my whole world, and it's creeping back into that now. I've got stuff that can go on the inside rim of a belt. Okay, so if somebody was to handcuff me from the back, not police handcuffs, if it was, you know, a naughty person that had ordered some decent handcuffs off the internet, I've got cuff keys that slide into the back of bags. I've got little V-shaped blades, like a little V-shaped blade that you put through a stud on the inside of your belt. Somebody cable ties you, you can flip it up and put the cable tie in and get yourself out. Diamond saws that are like the tiniest of tiny. So when it comes to completely the gray man mindset of preparedness. So I don't want to stand out in a crowd. Like, I don't want to be the guy that stands out in a crowd. I don't want to be the guy that's got a lot of gear on him if somebody was to pat me down. But it doesn't mean that you can't be hella prepared. It's true. I'll go and dig out some of the stuff. I'm telling you, I've got little black boxes that are about this size. I'm pretty sure they were like electricity something black boxes with four little screws that go on the top. And obviously I don't put the 4 screws in, but I use a bit of inner tube to pull down these little tubs. And you end up with this tiny little box of gear. And I mean, everything in there is the Gucci of Gucci. You've got these beautiful little, like 1.5 centimeter luminous, perfectly balanced, like Navy SEAL approved button compasses. They're just beautiful. But don't own a compass if you don't know how to use it. Okay. And never underestimate the value of those old phones that you have. Okay. If you've got a 32 gigabyte old mobile phone, go factory reset it and see how many PDFs you can fit on that. And then imagine a world where there's no internet and you wish you had a PDF or a little bit of a book about how to deal with your wife's compound shin fracture that's currently sticking through her shin and she's screaming. And it's, knowledge weighs nothing. Nothing. And the amount of information you can fit on an old phone that even, an old phone, and then go and order yourself a Faraday pouch to keep it in. It's just a little like tinfoil bag that you slide it in. Put all of your USB, like your SD cards and things like that, and treat that as the library of the future. Because as soon as the power's gone and the internet's gone, and you realize I'm actually a dumbass, and for the last 10 years I've been Googling everything. And my attention span is now 8 seconds, so I've taken none of it in, but by God, can I follow some stuff by step, right? I mean, this is another thing. Like, how many of you could confidently, in an urban environment, supply water to your children when the taps go off? If you've got a river system or a stream, fantastic. What if you don't? What if we have seen small areas be cleared out and you're walking through a Walking Dead like scenario where you've got 40 houses in front of you that are all empty? Where are you looking for water? Come on. Number one place. Number one place. Your kids are thirsty. You've got 40 empty houses that have been raided. Where are you going to look for water? Exactly. That big freaking thing that fills up with the water at the back of the toilet. Last place anyone's going to be looking. Water heater's a bit manky. That's a bit manky, right? Probably kill you. All right. If you really want to get next level with prepping, look at what you can do with a car alternator, right? Like, a freaking car. Do you know how many car alternators there's going to be? There's a wad. Getting them out's a problem. But the things that you can build and do with an alternator that can power a small holding it's just bonkers. Car batteries, there's going to be abundance of them. Just focus on what you think are going to be the abundant resources, right? The abundant resources of a ruling without law scenario. And cars are definitely one of them. So yeah, but look, wow, unbelievable. No free speech. Priscilla Rune Earth reposted this stream. Well, look, the problem is, Priscilla, it's already happening. So we can all kind of agree, well, look, okay, so we now need to have an internet passport for the adult sites. If that's all the law was, if the law was just, nudie people for grown-ups, brilliant. I am so here for that cistern, Phil. Thank you. Yes. I'm so here for that. Like, it's the same if you go to a nudie bar, right? You got to show some ID. You're got to be an adult. I don't really care about that. That's just the way it is, right? But we know it's going to get abused. We know it's going to be. We know as soon as that rolled out, we seen tens and tens of thousands of YouTube videos and channels start to get censored, demonetized, eradicated. You know, I wonder how long it'll be before I only talk about this on my channel. Pretty soon, I would imagine. Not because I've been asked not to, just to be clear, but because it's the safer option. Like, it's the safer option. Because at some point, TOS is going to change, and this is going to be seen as some sort of passive aggressive right, whatever wing it is that's the bad wing, that wing, madness. So I would like to reiterate that the British government is trying to create a definition of what Islamophobia is. And we all know how definitions can be misconstrued. And I'm all for every single religion in this nation being protected against bigotry, being protected against hate speech. So I hope every religion gets a definition that saves it from that. But I don't think it's going to happen, right? It's very interesting how one faith pops up in so many of the issues that this country is having with our government, the way that our women, our children are being treated, the way that the resources are being distributed, the way that our veterans and homeless are being spat on by the government. And it's not just my country. If it was just my country, this would just be a rogue government, be a bad election, be a bit of a slip up on our part. But this is Europe, this is the UK, this is America. Is there something that Europeans, British people, and Americans have a lot of in common? I don't know what it is. It's something though, right? It's definitely something that we're kind of all the same with. It's interesting. I tell you what's interesting though. Most of the Ukrainian war is on YouTube. And there is some really interesting videos from some very, 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 very creative Ukrainians. And it's amazing to actually watch a GoPro war. I know that sounds crazy. And it's not like World War II. It's not like the trenches, right? It's not like the trenches. It's not like super graphic, horrific stuff, but it's them like sitting at camps and talking and like duct taping this onto that, and it's incredible to watch when people have no clue what they're doing. Right? It's just like, hi, I'm Bill. I'm from the Ukraine. I used to be a baker, and now I am a tech specialist for the improvised Air Force unit. What? You know, it's fascinating. And it's an example of what was considered the little guy being punched in the face by the bigger guy, right? And to me, it would be what I would imagine is a quite good reflection of what we would all imagine civil war in our brain would look like. Maybe without so much of the shelling, right? Infrastructure staying put during that is kind of a thing. The answer is unity, not giving in to fear and letting them divide us. Nah, that's what they want you to think. Sure, unity, not giving in to fear, not dividing us. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, you're not wrong. But do you know how many people can stand in unity and how much damage I could do to you with a 4x4 car just driving all into you and standing there in unity? And I'm speaking metaphorically here because too many people put too much weight on standing in front of the tank as it barrels down the road towards them. And I don't like the way the world's looking like it's going to. I don't like it. Poland does look better every day. I'm not going to lie. Their policy is if you don't have the right documentations and you cross this border, we will fire a pew pew at you. And it sounds extreme, right? But see how extreme that sounds 3 years from now. For a government to take a stance where it protects its own people against any form of invasion, no matter how small. And yeah, well, look, listen, I just wanted to do this little stream today. I will see you guys at 7 o'clock for a royal mess, and then 9 o'clock where we're going to talk a little bit about the victims and how they are feeling about the potential Ghislaine Maxwell pardons that are not off the table and still being alluded to. And we're going to just have a little look at the reaction across the internet from various forms of victims of these kinds of people. So I'll see you guys then. A bit of a ranty one today, but this stuff really bothers me. There's a good chance I'm going to stop talking about it so much on Sean's channel, and I'll maybe do like a weekly rant fest on this on my channel or when I'm outside or something. But the prepping, if you're part of my Discord, that is something that I'm going to be creating a area of resources where you guys can choose to use those resources at your own leisure. So yeah, my grandfather was Polish. Zablewski. Definitely making a prepping area. Yeah, 100%. And I'll tell you something else. One thing that America has in spades that you can learn so much from over the internet is the canning culture. Like you ain't seen nothing until you see an American armed with like 50 mason jars and a whole bunch of stuff, right? It's fascinating. It is so it's not, oh, are you talking about meal preps, bro? No, I'm talking about you've made something with chicken about 4 months ago and it's been sat in a jar, right? And you know you've made that and it's going to open and you can eat that. What? Pay attention to the canning culture of America. It's jars though. It's not really cans. It is jars. It's not really canning. But man, you can can some stuff. I just want to point that you can can some stuff. There was a whole for people that need a little bit more Hollywood to get themselves sort of motivated, or if you're one of our lucky viewers who happens to have tens and tens and tens of thousands of expendable dollars, and you're like, yeah, I want to get involved in this, but basically I just want to pay for some stuff. There's a whole series called like USA Preppers or Doomsday Preppers. This was from like 10 years ago. It is so over the top. Some of these Americans are so American. Like, yes, this is what we would all have if we had 40 acres of land and $9 million to spend. Do you know what I'm saying? It's awesome. So yeah. There we go. Some people have their own canners. Yeah, sure they do, because they're freaking badass. And I'll tell you one thing, dehydrators, fascinating. Like, it's such simple science. It's such simple science. But if you've ever owned a dehydrator, those are the ones, man. Those are the ones. Survival meal preps, spaghetti bolognese, with a freaking pasta instead of the spaghetti. Dehydrate that mofo. Yep. Stick it in an air, and then stick it in a Ziploc. One of these like what the hell is it called when you suck all the air out the bag and it seals it? Air. I don't know. One of them. Suck all the water out of it. Suck all the air out of it. Seal it. Stick it in your backpack. And get to camp and just chuck some hot water in, and bosh, we're back in the game. Also, you can take a whole double cheeseburger, right? Put it in a vacuum sealer, and it will squash it down until it's about half an inch thick. And then if you then go to camp, right, and then just take that bag and stick it in some boiling water for a couple of minutes, little hole, obviously, let the steam out. Basically, the heat just heats the burger back up and just reinflates the bag. Don't get it wet, okay? Don't. I know one of you. I see Bailey's already saying "ooh" because she's imagining it being wet, right? But no, you just flatten that bad boy down, and all you're doing is remember. Do you remember when like your nan would like? Do you remember the weird period of boiling stuff in a bag? Does anyone remember that? Was it the 90s or the 80s? I seem to remember like my godmother, Auntie Maisie, being really pleased that there was like fish in a bag, and you would just chuck the bag in the what? It was something like that. But yeah, you can totally. I knew a guy, right, that went to McDonald's, got a bunch of Big Macs, vacuum sealed them, and then came to camp and then whipped out Big Macs for everybody. It's funny. It's so funny because it just reheats. It reheats. It's all good. Pastrami in a bag, sure, no problem. Also, if you haven't tried beef jerky yet and you're over 35, why? Just jerky. It's the greatest thing ever. Okay, so I'm just saying, if you've got like a weird like, oh, I don't want to try that, get it down you. Okay, cup of soup. Just add hot water. Yeah, you'll spill one cup of soup on your thigh when you're camping, and never again will you ever take a cup of soup out with you ever again. Plus, I'll tell you what will happen first. Straight of all those little weird vegetables in the cup of soup just get filtered through to the denim or whatever it is you're wearing. Do you know what I mean? And then, of course, there's the burns. Okay, I have a chip in my body. I don't know how to process that, Stephen. I've got a chip in my shoulder, if that helps. Okay. I will see you all in a little while. Take it easy. You're all awesome. Thank you for being here. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.